In the heart of the ocean, far beneath the shimmering surface, an ancient terror once roamed. This was no mythical creature or imagined beast, but a real-life predator so fierce that its name was almost erased from history itself: the Leviathan. It was a giant, a relentless hunter, so deadly that the mere thought of it would send shivers through the deepest waters, yet for millions of years it was forgotten. But now, after an unimaginable span of time, we've uncovered the traces of this forgotten terror, and its story is anything but quiet. Imagine, if you will, the vastness of the ocean, where a predator more colossal and more deadly than anything we've seen today ruled its domain. Not a shark, nor a giant squid, but something far more terrifying, a creature so monstrous that it could take on an entire whale. Its body as long as a school bus, and its teeth razor sharp and monstrous, could pierce through its prey's defenses like nothing we've ever known. The first clue to this beast's existence came to light in 2008. A team of paleontologists, exploring the deserts of Peru, stumbled upon something that would turn everything we knew about ancient marine life on its head. Buried in the desolate landscape, they discovered a massive skull, part of a creature long gone from the earth. Yet, even in its ruined state, the skull spoke volumes. Its size, its structure, and most notably its teeth, revealed an apex predator the likes of which we could scarcely imagine. This was no ordinary whale. No, this was the Leviathan, a creature so large and powerful that it could hunt other whales, something no modern predator is capable of today. What we found in that shattered skull wasn't just a glimpse into the past, it was the revival of a legend. The moment paleontologists saw the size and shape of the skull, they knew they had unearthed something monumental. Their discovery was more than just a fossil. It was a link to a time when the seas were ruled by terrifying giants. This was the predator that lived in the deepest, most dangerous waters of the ancient world, a beast whose very name would stir fear. They named it Leviathan, after the mythical sea monster described in ancient texts. This wasn't a mere coincidence. It was a revelation. The Leviathan wasn't just some part of folklore, it was real. A creature so terrifying that it was capable of taking down prey that dwarfed even the largest modern whales. With its massive jaws, sharp teeth, and overwhelming strength, the Leviathan was the true ruler of the deep, the ultimate predator that commanded the ocean with absolute authority. But the Leviathan wasn't just a terrifying beast, it was a glimpse into the past. A time when creatures ruled the earth that were as dangerous as they were magnificent. And for a long time the Leviathan had slipped away into the forgotten annals of history. But with the discovery of this fossil, the legend of this monster was reborn. The Leviathan was not just large, it was monstrous in scale, a creature that dwarfed almost every marine predator we know today. When paleontologists first pieced together the remnants of this ancient killer, they found a predator of such extraordinary proportions that it made even the biggest modern marine animals seem small in comparison. Imagine standing next to a modern whale, the largest creature alive today. Now imagine that whale, but with a body so massive that it could crush anything in its path, and jaws that could snap through bone like twigs. That was the Leviathan. Stretching to an estimated 57 feet long, this was a creature that would have put every ocean predator before it to shame. Its immense size wasn't just for show, it was built for power, speed, and devastating force. The Leviathan's body weighed up to 60 tons, almost 30 times the weight of a standard car, and 10 times the size of a modern killer whale. This wasn't just another fish swimming in the ocean. It was a living force of nature designed to dominate everything in its path. But size alone doesn't make a predator truly terrifying. It's the way that size is used, how it's built, and what's lurking beneath the surface. In the case of the Leviathan, it wasn't just the bulk of its body that made it a fearsome force. It was its unparalleled power to hunt. The Leviathan's body was sleek, powerful, and streamlined, designed for maximum efficiency in the hunt. Its muscular frame allowed it to move through the water with terrifying speed, more agile than most creatures of its size. Despite its enormous bulk, it could outmaneuver and overpower nearly anything in the ocean. Its head, broad and squared, housed a jaw capable of opening wide enough to engulf its prey in one brutal bite. And within those jaws were teeth unlike any other. Think of the largest predators alive today: the great white shark, the orca, the crocodile. Now imagine them with teeth so enormous and sharp that they could tear through an adult whale in a single strike. The Leviathan's teeth were massive, some up to a foot long. But these were not just tools for chewing. They were weapons crafted for killing. Each tooth was designed to rip and tear, to inflict the most damage in the shortest time possible. But it wasn't just the size of the teeth that made them so deadly. It was the structure of them. Each tooth was built like a blade, sharp and curved, designed to cut through the flesh and bone of even the most massive prey. This wasn't just about brute force. It was about precision. The Leviathan's teeth were placed strategically to work together, slicing through meat like a well-oiled machine. The result? A predator capable of hunting prey many times its size, a creature that could take on whales, sharks, and other sea giants with a terrifying efficiency. The Leviathan's bite was more than just powerful. It was engineered for destruction. The structure of its jaw and the depth of its teeth allowed it to tear apart its prey with ease. Its bite force was unrivaled, capable of delivering devastating damage with a single strike. This wasn't a predator that played by the rules. It was a hunter designed to strike hard, fast, and without mercy. This massive, powerful creature didn't just survive in the ocean, it reigned over it. With its brute strength, terrifying teeth, and unparalleled hunting ability, the Leviathan was not just another creature in the sea. It was the monster at the top of the food chain, feared by all, capable of destroying anything that dared cross its path. And this terrifying force of nature ruled the seas for millions of years, undisturbed until it disappeared from the fossil record. But in those ancient, forgotten depths, the Leviathan remains a symbol of the sheer power that once ruled the ocean. Beneath the surface of the ocean, where light barely penetrates, a silent predator stalked its prey with precision. The Leviathan, a true apex predator of the ancient seas, relied on more than just brute strength to dominate its domain. It was a master of the hunt, equipped with extraordinary abilities that made it an unparalleled killer in the water. The Leviathan was a perfect blend of power, speed, and intelligence, qualities that ensured its reign at the top of the oceanic food chain. The Leviathan's hunting technique was a blend of brute force and sensory sophistication. Imagine gliding silently through the water, its massive body barely making a ripple. At the heart of its hunting strategy was echolocation, a biological sonar system that allowed it to see its surroundings in the pitch-black depths of the ocean. The Leviathan had a specialized organ called the spermaceti, housed in its massive head. This organ, filled with waxy substances, helped it send out sound waves that bounced off objects, revealing the location of prey hidden in the murky water. Using this highly developed sonar, the Leviathan could track prey from miles away, detecting even the slightest movements of its target. It could locate schools of fish, other marine mammals, or even a lone whale, silently drifting through the deep. With such incredible precision, the Leviathan was able to hunt with efficiency and skill. It wasn't just a wild predator on the prowl, it was a hunter that knew exactly where its prey was, when to strike, and how to bring it down. What made the Leviathan so terrifying wasn't just its ability to track its prey, it was the ferocity of its attack. Once the Leviathan locked onto its target, there was no escape. It had the speed to close the distance between itself and its prey quickly, despite its enormous size. This predator didn't need to chase its prey for miles. It was capable of overtaking even the swiftest creatures in the water with frightening swiftness. When the time came, the Leviathan struck with the force of a freight train. Its mouth, filled with rows of razor-sharp teeth, was capable of taking down creatures far larger than itself. The Leviathan was not content to simply maim its prey. It tore into its victims with brutal efficiency. A single bite was enough to tear through the flesh and bones of whales, sharks, or any other marine animal unfortunate enough to be on the receiving end. The Leviathan didn't waste time, nor did it show mercy. It was an apex predator, one designed for one thing: survival through domination. Imagine witnessing this massive predator in action, its vast body moving with fluidity and grace, its jaws opening wide to deliver a lethal bite to whatever crossed its path. Whether it was an enormous whale or a shark, no animal stood a chance once the Leviathan had them in its sights. Its hunting methods were ruthless, efficient, and designed to ensure that no predator was ever safe from its grasp. The Leviathan was not a scavenger or a passive predator like many marine creatures today. It was a hunter that commanded respect, using its extraordinary sensory abilities and hunting prowess to catch and kill prey with deadly accuracy. In the ancient ocean, few could match its skills, and for those unlucky enough to be hunted by it, there was no escape. In the vast, perilous waters of the ancient seas, there existed two of the most formidable predators to have ever lived, the leviathan and the megalodon. These two titans, each a force of nature in its own right, roamed the oceans at the same time, hunting, competing, and surviving in an environment where only the strongest could thrive. While no direct evidence exists to prove that they ever clashed in battle, the very thought of such an encounter stirs the imagination. What would it be like to witness a fight between these two monstrous creatures? Let's start with the Megalodon. This giant shark, believed to have grown up to 60 feet long and weighed as much as 100 tons, was the ocean's most powerful predator for millions of years. Its massive, serrated teeth were capable of cutting through the thick hide and bone of even the largest whales, and its bite force was estimated to be one of the most powerful of any known animal, surpassing even the mighty T-Rex. The Megalodon had a huge advantage in sheer size and power. With jaws wide enough to swallow a small car, this predator was truly a giant of the ancient seas. But the Megalodon wasn't the only predator to reign supreme. Enter the leviathan. While not as massive as the Megalodon, it was a formidable predator in its own right, combining speed, intelligence, and brutal efficiency. The leviathan wasn't just big, it was fast, agile, and capable of striking with lethal precision. It hunted whales, sharks, and any other marine life it could overpower, using its massive teeth and powerful jaws to tear through its prey. The leviathan's echolocation abilities allowed it to track down its targets with almost supernatural accuracy, giving it an edge over other predators. What if these two colossal creatures crossed paths? Would the Megalodon's raw power be enough to defeat the leviathan? Or would the leviathan's agility and cunning make it the true ruler of the ocean? The size difference would be substantial, with the Megalodon being a larger animal overall, but the leviathan had speed on its side, making it more capable of evading attacks. It wasn't just about the size of the predator, but the efficiency and precision of its attack. The leviathan could strike fast and hit hard, while the Megalodon would have to rely on its overwhelming strength and massive size to subdue its opponent. One thing is for sure, a battle between these two giants would have been a cataclysmic event, one that would shake the very foundations of the ocean. While the Megalodon had the sheer size advantage, the leviathan could outmaneuver it with agility and strategic intelligence. If they were to ever clash, it would be a battle of force versus finesse, of raw power versus calculated precision. Though we may never know if these two predators ever fought, it's fascinating to imagine the showdown between them. The oceans, ruled by these two titans, were a place where only the most fearsome survived. The leviathan and the Megalodon might have lived alongside one another, each occupying their own ecological niche, but if their paths had ever crossed in battle, the result would have been a confrontation that would be remembered for millennia, a true clash of oceanic titans. Despite its terrifying reputation, the leviathan was not a solitary creature, far from it. While we often picture apex predators like sharks and crocodiles as solitary hunters, the leviathan's lifestyle suggests it was much more social and intelligent than we might expect for such a colossal killer. Much like modern-day sperm whales, which live in highly organized social groups, the leviathan likely formed tight-knit pods that worked together for survival. Imagine a pod of these massive creatures gliding effortlessly through the deep, their bodies moving as one in perfect coordination. The leviathan wasn't just a solitary terror. It was part of a larger community of formidable predators. Within these pods, communication and collaboration were key to hunting success. These ancient giants would have coordinated their efforts, surrounding their prey and closing in from all sides. They were not just hunting individually, they were hunting as a group, using their sheer numbers and collective intelligence to bring down even the largest prey. The idea of the leviathan being social may seem counterintuitive. After all, this was a creature that could overpower a whale in a single strike, a predator so massive it could dominate its environment with force alone. But even the most powerful predators know the value of teamwork. The leviathan's echolocation, a sophisticated sonar system located in its massive head, would have played a critical role in these coordinated hunts. The leviathans in a pod could have used their heightened sensory abilities to track prey from miles away, communicating their findings to one another in a silent, coordinated dance beneath the waves. Unlike the solitary, aggressive nature of many modern apex predators, the leviathan likely exhibited complex social behavior. Just like today's sperm whales, which live in matriarchal groups with mothers and their calves, the leviathan could have had a social structure based on age and sex. Mature males may have roamed alone or in small groups, while females and juveniles traveled together in larger pods. This kind of social structure would have allowed for protection, learning, and a better chance of survival in a world full of dangers. The presence of social behavior in apex predators isn't unique to the leviathan. Orcas, also apex predators, exhibit remarkable cooperation when hunting, often working together to isolate and capture their prey. Similarly, the leviathan's teamwork would have made it a far more dangerous force in the ocean than it would have been alone. Its ability to hunt as part of a coordinated effort would have given it a critical edge over other predators, including even the mighty Megalodon. Picture this: a group of leviathans, their massive forms moving gracefully through the water, closing in on their prey. With each member of the pod contributing to the hunt, the victim would have little chance to escape. The power of cooperation, combined with the sheer physical dominance of these creatures, made the leviathan not just a killer, but a terrifying force of nature. The reign of the leviathan, the great oceanic monster that once terrorized the deep, was not eternal. Like all giants of the ancient world, it eventually succumbed to the changing tides of time, disappearing from the oceans and leaving only its skeletal remains to tell the tale. But what caused the downfall of such a mighty predator? How did the leviathan, once the undisputed ruler of the deep, disappear from the fossil record? The answer lies in the rapidly changing world around it. As the Earth's climate began to shift, the oceans too began to change. During the late Miocene and early Pliocene, the planet experienced a cooling trend. The seas, once warm and teeming with large marine mammals and fish, began to cool as well. This shift brought about changes in the food chain, with some prey species becoming less abundant and others evolving to thrive in cooler waters. For the leviathan, a hypercarnivore that relied on a diet of massive marine creatures, these changes spelled disaster. With the cooling of the oceans, large marine mammals, the leviathan's primary prey, began to change as well. New species of whales, some even larger and more efficient at feeding, emerged. These new species were harder to catch, and they presented a serious challenge to the leviathan's hunting style. The massive filter-feeding whales that flourished in these cooler waters grew larger, and they fed in ways that made them less vulnerable to predators like the leviathan. But it wasn't just the prey that was changing. The oceans were becoming more competitive. New predators were emerging to take advantage of the shifting ecosystem. Dolphins and smaller whales, once no match for the mighty leviathan, began to evolve new strategies to avoid it. These new competitors for food, as well as the increasingly difficult hunting conditions, began to put immense pressure on the leviathan population.